really going to happen in a very big way.
Finance Minister Jaitley said very recently that the world's largest economy, that's the United States, needs greater understanding of regional issues. What, in the view of the Modi government, are the areas where you feel that the United States is not on the same page with us, where you'd like to see some movement on the side of Washington?
I think as far as regional issues are concerned, Rahul, there are really three important areas where I think our collaboration can be even better. Number one, of course, is what happens in Afghanistan. As the U.S. is reducing its involvement in Afghanistan, there is, of course, a natural security concern we have as to what's going to happen in Afghanistan and how the situation is going to unfold there. And that's certainly an area of great concern for us. So we want to make sure that that is fully taken into account and dealt with. Then the second aspect that we are concerned about is some of the violence and some of the somewhat, I would say, turbulent area to the east of us, which is in Burma and certain parts of Bangladesh as well, where there is again been, a fair amount of religious violence on our borders, and we are very concerned about people, flowing in and out across the borders. We need a better, sort of collaboration with the U.S. there to be able to handle some of these situations that we are seeing in some of our eastern areas as well. And then the third area, of course, that we want to make sure that we work closely with the Americans on, where there's again some more need for cooperation, is in terms of maritime security and safety in the Indian Ocean. Here again, there are a host of factors that come into play. Number one, that we saw with the boat that came that then got blown up is, what is happening with respect to terrorism and sort of intrusions into the Indian mainland. That is something that we need to work on. The Americans obviously have the biggest navy in the world, so we need to collaborate there. Secondly, there are pirates in the area. We need to worry about that. And then the third area, of course, is the continued security of these important shipping lanes and to ensure that, trade and commerce flows through safely across all of that. These are three very important factors in the region that we would like closer collaboration and cooperation on. And certainly there are other areas such as what's happening in the South China Sea and so on, and in the Philippines, around the Philippines, where again it's important for us, given overall security in Asia, that we work and collaborate together on.
President Obama's Democratic Party got hammered in the congressional elections in November. The Republicans now control both the House of Representatives and the U.S. Congress. Is there a fear in this government that you're essentially dealing with what the Americans call a lame duck president, and some of this symbolism, the optics, the atmospherics may not result or translate into concrete outcome?
Well, we understand the American political system very well, and President Obama has 2 years to go in his term. He has been a very effective president, particularly as far as economic policy is concerned. The U.S. economy has come out of a very difficult recessionary period to be among the fastest growing major economies in the world. There is a lot of work to be done in the economy. There's a lot of work to be done in terms of security, and we work with parties across the aisle, and so we are very confident between the excellent relationships that we enjoy with President Obama as well as the regard with which the Republicans hold us in, that we will be able to do excellent business together.
Okay, let's take some questions from the audience. Shweta wants to ask the first question. Shweta, go ahead, please. Can someone bring the mic forward to her, please? Can someone bring the mic to Shweta? Yeah, perfect.
I have two questions for Jayant. One, there is a lot of concern amongst industry that Make in India could actually be a non-starter because the ordinance route that this government has taken has not gone down very well with the industry specifically because, again, it gives a feeling of uncertainty. Also, there's a very skewed trade ratio between India and America. In the last 3 years, America invested about $1.6 billion, whereas India invested about $17 billion in 2013, and India created about 81,000 jobs. So it's a very skewed ratio. How are we convincing the hard-nosed American businessman that, yes, come invest in the country, do business in India, and how we convincing the Indian companies to come back to India, because what's going on right now is very token.
Once you take the kernel of that idea and reshape it and rework it so it's broader, deeper, and more comprehensive, obviously you can get it done.
Okay, Damayanti.
And by the way, just speaking on that, Rahul, just to set the record straight, the first person to talk about a national identity system was the NDA government. And I wrote a series of articles myself in the Business Standard before Nandan came and started talking about Aadhaar. So ideas come from many sources and across a period of time. So what you call the UPA program, I could as well call an NDA program that the UPA implemented very poorly, and then we resurrected it and did it much better.
Damayanti.
Sir, you talked about a lot of new investments coming in. How about non-resident business people? Are they investing in India at all?
I can't separate out the massive FPI inflows that we've seen between non-resident Indians and other types of investors. But at least if Pravasi Bharatiya Divas is any indicator, there's extraordinary interest by NRIs to invest in India. They came in large numbers to Gujarat for Pravasi Bharatiya Divas. And from everything that I'm seeing right now, and I'm in touch with many of them, they certainly want to put their money where their mouth is.
Can we have the mic there, please?
Jan, you mentioned that investment flowing in the e-commerce companies has been a bright spot this fiscal, but your friends, saffron friends, are opposing these kind of business models because like Flipkart has a company model where company headquarters is based in Malaysia or Singapore, or the Uber, or a number of companies which have come up. Your saffron friends are opposing it. So, and the government is not saying anything clear about it. What is it? I mean, that it appears to us there is a policy paralysis on this issue, that the government is not taking a line whether they are for it or against it, under pressure from
And Nirmala Sitharaman made a rather ambivalent kind of comment.
Exactly.
Neither
So
here nor there.
it appears a policy paralysis. What's the policy clarity on that issue?
No, let me make sure I understand your question. Are you asking what is the policy for e-commerce? Is that the question?
That your saffron friends are opposing it. So how, I mean, and the government has not come out formally saying we are for it or against it. We're just letting it happen. So there is a fear that you might crack down the next day.
We live in a democracy. In a democracy, there are many voices. There will be some voices on any issue that will be in one camp. There will be voices in the middle, and then there will be voices in another camp. That's how democracies work, and that's how it should be. Now, with respect to e-commerce, the fact of the matter is that the laws of the land are very clear as far as e-commerce are concerned, which is marketplace models are legal, and you can invest on that basis. And last I checked, whether it's Amazon or the investors in Flipkart or the investors in Quikr or the investors in Snapdeal, there's billions of dollars that's going into those marketplace models. So that's how e-commerce is
And your
flourishing.
government has no intention of changing it under pressure from the Swadeshi Jagran.
It is the law of the land right now.
Right now. It could change.
The law of the land is very clear in this regard.
We have time only for one final question. Let's just give it to the gentleman here.
Good evening, sir. My name is Ashutosh. I'm a student of Sri Ram College of Commerce. So I have two questions. First, relates to the economic policy advocated by our government. In the history of post-independence India, you've not had a center-right a party which advocates center-right economics barring the Swatantrata Party. Do you see the BJP fulfilling that void? And is this increasingly going to determine the international policy of your government? Secondly, my second question relates to the Make in India campaign. You had the Swadeshi Jagran Manch state that advocate the title Made by India rather than the Make for India tagline. How do you bring consistency between these two alternate economic visions that are coming out from the larger Parivar, that of Swadeshi and that of a more liberalized state that is being advocated by the Prime Minister? Thank you, sir.
With respect to your first question, that is this the first time that we have a center-right party? I would say you're quite wrong. Between 1998 and 2004, we had an NDA government, and an NDA government that followed very center-right policies. And in fact, that government literally began with a bang and took off from there. So we've obviously followed those kinds of policies before with great success, I must say, because we went at that point from an economy growing at 4% something to an economy growing at 8.5%, a current account surplus, a much better fiscal deficit, etc., etc. So we've shown that those policies work, and they work well when they're consistently applied in that government. And certainly, we have a great template to follow in this government and under the Honorable Prime Minister, who's been crystal clear in his own thinking on economic philosophy, as has been the Honorable Finance Minister. We are determined to follow similar types of policies, which are the policies of the center-right. So that's the first question. Your second question related to the discord that you believe exists between different aspects of our party and other organizations. I would say that there is no discord. There is no discord at all, because all of us, and I think all of you in the audience, and I'm sure Rahul will agree with this, all of us want to build a stronger, more prosperous, and more peaceful India. And to do that, of course, we have to strengthen the Indian economy. We have to make the Indian economy robust, resilient. We have to make in India. We have to innovate in India. We have to invest in India.
How often do folks from the Swadeshi Jagran Manch come and meet you? Do you have to look over your shoulders in the Ministry of Finance when you formulate policy?
We meet often and frequently, and it is always a most enjoyable discussion. There are some very interesting perspectives that folks across our ecosystem, the Sangh Parivar, have. I very much relish those meetings, and it's always something that results in further and excellent ideas.
And the Diplomat of the Year award goes to Jayant Sinha. Well done. Thank you so much for joining us, Jayant. Great having you with us.
Thanks, Jan. Thank you, Rahul. And we didn't get much out of you on the budget, but oh well, that's for another conversation. And thank you very much. You all have been a great audience.